This is a very good statement here, and it needs a much longer video. But can you do a video correlating the Maccabean revolt and the Roman influence on rabbinic Judaism? Well, it's kind of a tricky question in a sense, mainly because the Maccabean was not against the Romans. It was actually against the Seleucid Empire, who were enemies of Rome at the time frame of 174, 166 BCE. What you had was the Seleucid Empire controlled Jerusalem, controlled Israel, Judea at the time. And they had initially one law. The one law, first one, was that they must make sacrifice to the Greek gods in their temples. The rabbinic Jews was like, hell no. So that caused a conflict, and the Seleucid Antiochus, I think the fifth, couldn't stand the Jewish people because of that. So after fighting a war in Egypt against the Romans in Egypt, he decided that he was going to enact even more laws against the Jewish people, which he enacted the law of, wanted them to get rid of all the laws of their country, leave their babies uncircumcised, and sacrifice swine on the altars inside the Jewish temple. He also, when he sacked Jerusalem, raided the temple and took all the treasures of the temple. So he defiled the temple. What the rabbinic Jews people learned after that, because they fought against him, they went to Matthias, who was a Maccabee, and that's why it's called the Maccabees, but the Maccabean Wars, but coined by Josephus in that, because they were a priestly family. And when Matthias' son Judas really took over the Maccabean Wars and was able to set up an independent state, they made a peace treaty with Rome while the Seleucids were fighting Rome. Now, as the Seleucids were destroyed, then Rome came into play, and they set up a Roman province in Judea. What's one of the first things they did? They told them that they had to set up an altar of Caesar inside of their temples, inside of the temple. Now, what that reminded the Jewish people of that day, I'm talking about 100 years later, is the fact that, and this is why they were looking for a Messiah, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. The Jewish people were like, hell no, you want us to set up a statue of Caesar? We know where this goes. It goes further and further, and then the Hellenistic Jews were the ones who sided with the Seleucians. They just wanted to make peace. They wanted to live their life. So they took on some of the Greek ideas. That's why they call them Hellenistic Jews, because they were Hellenized, Greekified, if you want to say. They didn't want Jews to become Romanized in the same fashion. So the rabbinic Judaism was like, no, we got to get back to our normal state. And that's what we can learn from this. We can't let the state control us and change what our spirituality is in this whole process. And one last thing is that this created Hanukkah, because when they rededicated the temple, supposedly there wasn't enough oil to burn for more than a day, but it burned for 8 days. So that's where Hanukkah comes from as well.